What's up, Dave?
Yes, sir.
What's going on, man?
Hey, in a bit of a tight spot with my partner.
Okay, tell me about it.
Well, he stepped out of the company.
Business partner, romantic partner.
No, sorry, sir. Business partner.
Okay.
Best friend, previous roommate, fellow minister at church.
Okay, so y'all got some history together. Okay.
A lot of history. It was before he was married, everything was super. It just has kind of gone downhill since he met his wife.
What's gone downhill? Your the access you had to him, and you being the focus of his life. What's gone downhill?
That's not really the issue. The issue is his personal life is going through. I mean, honestly, since the day he was married in 2019, I think it was 2019. Yeah, since he was married, it's been a roller coaster for him. So because he's in a place of leadership, that creates a roller coaster for everybody else. And he was in leadership he trained me from nothing in construction. We're construction renovators, and he also actually introduced me to the gospel of Jesus Christ and the true gospel. And so, sorry, I'm running here. But when he was in the place of leadership, when it would go up and down, I was just along for the ride. Once I became his business partner, then it affected me more and my reputation more because we were always changing. And now that he's stepped most of the way out of the company, it's left the company on my shoulders, and yet he's still involved. And I'm concerned that I have no idea what the next step is going to be because he might come back. He might step out completely. He might ask for profits. I have no idea.
So what about this best friend who, by the way, everyone who gets introduced to some sort of faith says it's the one true faith. So like this person who has been a spiritual influence in your life and a professional influence and a personal influence. It sounds like it's a lot. Hold on. It sounds like it's a lot of smoke and mirrors if you can't sit down and say, bro, what are you doing?
I can, and I do, but it becomes a big argument every time.
Okay, then your relationship is not what you think it is. Or let me say this, it's not what you are fantasizing it is. And I don't mean fantasizing in a sexual way.
That's exactly correct.
It's not real. And so
that's exactly correct.
How can I help you? What's the next right move for you? What's the question?
So I've reached out to, I was given an offer from another company.
Okay.
So I've reached out to him to accept the offer. He'll get back to me actually tomorrow.
Okay.
So it's just how do I? So you're absolutely correct. I'm holding on to a friendship I had with this guy before his whole marriage and life crisis, and before he changed. So you're absolutely correct on that. So it's just how do I respectfully and properly step out of the business side and also our real estate side, step out of that.
Oh, I love that question.
Only be tied into the church. I'm not leaving. I'm actually a musician, amateur. I'm not leaving the church at this point. But how do I respectfully step out without just blowing the whole thing up?
So, man, that's a great question, and the answer is surprisingly simple. But so I'll just put it out there. Number one, you say about 10% of what you want to say or think you should say.
Mm-hmm.
So say as little as possible, not in a manipulative way, but knowing this is a person who has demonstrated through their actions, they don't care what you say, they don't care about the integrity of the partnership, they have moved on with their life.
Okay.
And so what they have done in that process is there's not a lot of, they don't need a lot of, he doesn't need a lot of explanation. And by the way, the more explanation you give is just going to put gas on a fire that he's got raging inside of him that has nothing to do with you.
Correct.
It's as simple as, hey, I need to have a direct conversation with you. It's going to be pretty tough. Okay, Dave, what's going on? I've accepted another opportunity at another business. It's been my life's honor getting to work with you, and I will never forget the investment you put into my life. in a couple of days, I'm going to circle back and we can talk through how we're going to, separate the company, how I'm going to get bought out. If I don't know the details of how you're going to transition. Once he hears the words, I have taken a new position, period, he is going to go full fight or flight. He won't hear another thing you say.
I know.
So don't.
Okay.
And in a couple of days, we'll circle back and we'll work through the details. And I don't know what that means to get out of the real estate part and the business. I don't know if you have equity in the company. I don't know any of that kind of stuff. If you do, you need to write out specifically what your expectations are for that exit.
Right.
Because you're an owner. This isn't a matter of like, I'm quitting my job and you're turning in a 2-week notice to your boss. You're an owner, right? Or you're a partner in this company. So I don't know what that kind of looks like. Here's the...
It's kind of a mess, sir.
Okay.
Nothing's on paper. It's a mess. It's a real mess. Okay.
You need to be very clear, and you probably ought to meet with an attorney before you sit down. Because if you don't...
The only advantage to the mess is my name is not really... It's I don't know how to describe it. I've never seen it anywhere else. Nothing's on paper. But because he's stepping out, my name is getting more and more onto the liability side, and we have a mess when it comes to our paperwork and so on, our taxes and.
Okay, but hear me closely, Dave.
Yes, sir.
You stepping out and taking a new job does not absolve you of the mess you already have created. If you have your name on documents, if you are a partner, if you are an owner, if you are somehow already in the middle of projects that are underway, you will still be liable for those as you leave.
That's correct.
And so if there's 10 restoration projects or 10 rehab projects going and you just quit, but you were part of the guy that signed the contract with that original company, they still come after you.
That's correct. So the plan is January 1st, I step out.
Okay. He may pull a grenade pin before then.
I know that. I know. I'm expecting it.
Okay. So here's what I would do. I would spend your energy not trying to predict or contemplate how he's going to respond. Instead, I would spend my energy on writing out very clearly for myself and for him, here's what the next steps will look like. And then underneath that, in fact, the last 3 jobs I've transitioned out of, I sat down with a plan. 2 out of 3 times, my plan has been readily accepted. Like, I'll stay, I'm going to overlap, I'll work here, and I'm starting my new job. I'll be available for you. You can pay me contract, and I'll stay on. That's been accepted. The other one wasn't. One of them wasn't. They said, we're gonna pay you out, but we want you to go ahead and go early. That's cool. It's their facility. It's their place.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can have all the plans in the world. It's all well and good. If you want to just walk away and have no equity in this thing, and that's what you've decided, then put that down and have your lawyer draw up an agreement that says that I'm terminating this partnership effective immediately.
Mm.
If not, who knows what he gets on the phone and does, and you're still a quote-unquote partner or co-owner until January. I would not do that.
Mm.
He can drag you through all kind of things.
Nobody knows about this except for one close friend who won't mention it. Do you recommend that I guess quietly do the steps, separate our tools, kind of finish up the jobs we need to finish up, and maybe let him know, like, just Christmas, Merry Christmas, I'm leaving. Would you recommend something like that, or just go with my plan?
I mean, if you think he's in a position where he's going to steal your stuff, then yeah, you need to do the next right thing to protect yourself. But I don't want you to cash out your dignity and your honor and your character in the process. So that what that would mean is, if he says, "Hey, I'm taking on some more jobs for the new year,"
I know that's the challenge. That's why I kind of have to talk now, because it's going to get really, really basically a betrayal if I
right.
wait. So.
And I think there's a personal betrayal and there's a legal betrayal.
That's correct.
Because you or him are going to sign contracts with a customer who expects you to be running the show because he ain't doing it, and then it's going to be gone. So yes, if you think the day you tell him, "Hey, I've taken a new position. I'm planning on starting January 1. I'm going to help you wrap up this year," if he doesn't, if you don't think he's going to respond to that in a positive way, he's going to lock you out of the building, then yeah, you need to get your stuff out.
No, he's not that extreme. He's just going to try to convince me for the next 3 months every day to stay.
Okay. By you deciding you're going to stay for the next 3 months, then that's part of, you know that.
Right.
That's like me going to stay at my dad's house. I know my dad's going to try to convince me of his political views. This is how my dad rolls. But I'm choosing to stay at his house. And that's kind of the price I pay to be there.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But any sort of like, I think the meta lesson here is, especially initially, the least amount of explanation, deep conversation, he will not hear you. He's been able to have his cake and eat it too, or I don't know how that saying goes. How does that saying go? I don't know, make his cake and have it, eat it too. What's the saying?
Having your cake and eating it too?
That doesn't sound right. Is that right?
Yeah.
He's been trying to have his cake and...
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
You can't have it. That saying, he likes being a co-owner where he makes money, and you increasingly over the last 4 or 5 years have been running everything. And that's going to come to an end. His gravy train is coming to an end. He's going to be upset about it. And so say as little as you can, and then come up with a plan in writing a few days later when the smoke is cleared. Expect him to be angry because you've just blown up his life. That's okay. He made that choice. Hand him a piece of paper and says, here's my expectation and my plan. Let's work it through together. Every job I've ever left, I always send my exit strategy in writing. It's always a proposal. And I'm hoping they accept it. And I'm also offering things. I'm going to keep working here. I'm not going to leave you all high and dry. I'll finish all the reports. I'll turn the budgets in, whatever the thing is. And I think it's looking at the world y'all are in and saying, okay, the next 3 months are going to be a mayhem. And then I start this new job moving forward. But the days of handshakes and it's going to be all good, that has to end. You got to start putting stuff in writing. And almost think of this like as a divorce. My buddy Dave says, once somebody says, I want to divorce you, you are now in a business transaction. The romantic part is over. We are now into dividing up assets, and we are dividing up the path that we are going to exit this partnership. Similar thing here. The moment you accept this position, I accept this job. Now we are fully in business mode. Hopefully y'all can stay friends through it, but you're dividing assets, you're dividing tools, you're dividing jobs, you're dividing payouts, you're dividing debts, whatever y'all got on the table. Whew, let's have that in writing as soon as possible.